Hello, my name is Jim Poirier, and I live in Blue Mountains, Ontario, Canada, and that's about 2 hours north of Toronto. We are members of the Barrie congregation, and we are both retired. I'm a retired church appointee. And Janet?
Hello, I'm Janet. I am a retired RN, and I was a nurse for over 43 years, working in various aspects of healthcare.
When we retired, one of the things that we were dealing with was an ongoing concern about my health, in that I had a bypass surgery, triple bypass, and then 2 years later, I had 3 stents put in. During that 2-year period, we were exposed to a book called Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. And out of that book, which we never followed for the first 2 years, it called for a movement to a more whole food, plant-based lifestyle. And we basically followed the Mediterranean diet for that period of time. And lo and behold, I found myself in the hospital again. So following my release from the hospital, we brushed the dust off that book and decided to go into a whole food, plant-based lifestyle, eating whole foods, very unprocessed foods, and no salt, sugar, oil, or animal products in the lifestyle. Janet did it too. And what happened to you, Janet?
Well, I decided that I was going to do this for Jim, but soon I found out that I was responding very positively to it. I had arthritis quite badly in my hands, and within several weeks, I had no more pain. Both of us lost weight on this particular eating plan, and we found that we were eating a lot of food. And the nice thing about eating whole food plant-based is that there doesn't seem to be a reason to measure or weigh or limit your portions as you eat till you're satisfied. And the weight fell off, our pain went away, Jim's blood pressure came down, blood work got in line. And now today, Jim is off. Jim has been off all of his medications. I am taking no medications other than a vitamin B12. And that is it as far as what is required. So our life has been turned around to the point of now in our late 60s and enjoying retirement years in good health, able to move and do things that we want to do. And we are quite grateful for all this information and all the knowledge that we've gained. Because of my nursing background, I was very interested in learning more, and I did certify in plant-based nutrition from Cornell. And so I got all this information to help me, and we decided that it was worth sharing with people. We saw big changes in ourselves, and since then we have seen changes in others who have adopted this lifestyle as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things that we learned about the whole food plant-based lifestyle, it's not just diet. It involves like a four-legged stool where you've got diet, exercise, something for your spirit, like meditation to calm yourself, and then the participation in a community. So those 4 things are important for the lifestyle. And that lifestyle is evident in some parts of the world called the blue zones. And in those areas, there's 7 or 8 areas in the world where the percentage of the population that are centenarians is very high. And what we became to understand out of those groups is they did things together in community, they shared, but they also had lived a mostly plant-based lifestyle, heavy on the basics like beans and starches. So we thought, goodness, why don't we try to get others involved. And others asked us how we were doing, because you could see in our bodies how we were reacting. So we had a couple from the congregation over to the house one evening, and we invited them for dinner, telling them that we were plant-based. So they made sure that on their way to the house, they stopped off at McDonald's and they had something to eat, and then ended up at our house realizing that the food that we served them was delicious. And one of the members of that couple went wholeheartedly into the lifestyle, lost a terrific amount of weight, and now is biking and running marathons. So we're seeing lives change. This couple then said, well, why don't we do something at the church? And the Barrie congregation hosted a one-day workshop where we served plant-based food, and we educated people on what we knew at the time about a plant-based lifestyle. What evolved out of that were a number of other members of the congregation decided to go plant-based, and we had them into our home, and we fed them. We taught them how to cook. We were then invited to some reunions, and other people from the mission center began to get involved in the lifestyle. The mission center leadership endorsed it. Our field apostle changed his lifestyle to include plant-based. And so the community began to grow. And then Janet was called upon, after she was certified, to share all this wonderful medical information that she was getting on the effects of a plant-based lifestyle.
Yeah, so I started to visit reunions, women's retreats, to do presentations, just to share this information. We've seen a growth in a sensitivity now to all these things that are going on, that suddenly they started to have plant-based options available for people that were actually trying to eat better. And so the reunions and camps all kind of stepped up to that task of supplying more plant-based foods. So that was good to see. I also went to do a presentation, we actually both did, with a cardiac group in Guelph, Ontario, which is just in central Ontario here. This doctor has about 500 post-cardiac patients that he works with. And so we did several presentations with his group, and that was interesting to meet those people and to share our story. And we see and still keep in contact with many of those people. We started doing the Zoom groups after COVID hit. It kind of changed our direction as far as how we were able to contact and get together with people. So a lot of my interaction is through emails. We talk on the phone with people, and we do the Zoom presentations now about once a month. And so we've actually enlarged our circle to include people from all North America, basically. Even some from Europe have joined in at times. So it's really interesting to see and to hear and to contact and be with people and hear their stories, and to form that community, which we feel is important to maintain the momentum. We've been asked, how do you keep going? How do you keep inspired to be on this journey? And, it's interesting that everyone has their own reasons. And I like to tell people, you have to have a strong why. And once you've developed a strong why for anything, it becomes more doable and more sustainable. And so it means something. With our Canada's Food Guide coming out recently in 2019, we have been the talk even within the US as far as what our Canada's Food Guide has professed. And to put forth that effort to include more fruits and vegetables and beans and whole grains as being the main portion of your meal, to limit meats and animal products, to limit dairy products, to limit saturated fats and all that kind of stuff, which has been kind of the downfall of our society. we see so much disease process going on through cancer, heart disease, arthritis, you name it, to see that standard American diet kind of get picked apart and kind of put where it needs to go, because it's been a downfall for many. So our Zoom meetings have allowed us to contact and be with people on a regular basis and get to know them and their stories, and to hear their positives and to also hear their negatives.
One member from the Mission Center was excited about this and said, well, you got to have a Facebook page. So a number of people from the Mission Center got involved in creating a Facebook page, Plant-Based Nutrition 101. And that provides us an opportunity to have ongoing information. There's a boatload of information that comes out about plant-based living from some extremely reliable physicians and practitioners. And a lot of them have, because of social media, they have web pages, they have podcasts, they have YouTubes. And so what we do is we go through that information on a regular basis. We're on a number of mailing groups that provide information and recipes and that kind of thing. And so we'll pop that stuff on the Facebook page and share that with everyone to keep them going. And that's been our real connection with the church members that are involved. They do that. So from the on-site meetings with the Barrie congregation once a month, having to go to Zoom, branching out to our meetup group that we have, and then the Facebook group, we're reaching quite a few people with the message. The congregation is trying to go in lockstep with us. It's not a large congregation. Many of the members support us, and others support what we're doing. And others who we've talked to have decided that it's just too difficult for them to follow a plant-based lifestyle. But what we're doing is we're touching people, they're being affected by it. So even if they go plant-based one day a week, we're seeing it. If you go plant-based by one day a week, you can take the equivalent of 100 cars off the road, because it's that kind of thing that has come out of our discussions. We're learning that everything is connected, and we're seeing that animal agriculture is affecting the planet. We're seeing that between 18 and 51% of all greenhouse gases are produced by the animal agriculture industry. So we believe that, and like many others believe, that going plant-based quickly will alleviate a lot of the issues around climate change. And it's something we all can do. You know, you can buy a hybrid car, but it's not going to take 97 or 100 cars off the road by just going plant-based. And even if you do it one day a week, and so what we're trying to do is to get people to understand that the climate crisis has a source. The source could be animal agriculture, and the effect on climate change of animal agriculture is more than all of other forms of transportation combined. And there's loads of information now and research supported by many United Nations studies. And so we've decided that, yeah, not only are we going to start talking about food and health on our Zoom meetings, but we're going to talk about the planet and compassion to animals. We see that there are 75 to 80 billion beef and cattle tortured every year and killed. We're seeing that we're seeing the compassionate part of our ministry being awakened. We're seeing the fact that they're burning land to pasture and to feed the animals. 70 to 80% of what you see growing in the field is fed to animals. And the number of fish that we're killing, and the fact that fish, the biggest fish consumer in the world is the animal agriculture, because they're feeding fish pellets to the factory farms. And so all of this came out of our journey in plant-based, but it comes out to a ministry of compassion, a ministry for the environment, and we're kind of just springboarding off what we're doing to get into this other area that we never thought that we'd be getting into.
Yeah, veganism is built on compassion. And so it seemed a natural evolution for us to move into all these different directions and to value justice and peace and the various enduring principles that the church stands for and what they profess to claim to be the way we should think about surviving on this land, and to appreciate each other and the animals and the earth as one. And so our role here, we feel, is to just go along with that and to stand behind and to support these ways that we all have of actually making a difference. We look at what happens to us as we go on, and we're actually looking at different organizations and groups within our local community who are practicing some of these principles as well within groups that we have not been familiar with, but we feel that in order to make a difference for our own local community, we need to step out and be involved there as well. So we're looking forward to, there's a couple that we have in mind of actually looking more closely at and joining and to see what they're all about. So this opens doors that we have no idea where, and within our Barrie group, we still aren't sure yet how that's going to progress. But we hope that, as time goes on, more of us will get on board with this idea and, be able to make a big difference for the people that we work and live with.
If we were to say, what would you dream would be the ideal situation? We would be able to say, we would like to say that we're supporting the Barrie congregation. The Barrie congregation is supporting us, but we would also like to be able to support other congregations that are attempting to go plant-based. So we want to be there as a catalyst to help other congregations go in this direction. And with the help of Zoom, we can be in their living rooms or in their congregations to support them with this, because the more people that do this and the more people that go plant-based, the bigger effect that we can have on our planet. And so we're very appreciative of the Climate Action Committee that are beginning to try and bring this whole church and the congregations together to do this kind of thing. I'm just totally excited about what we can do. And on the other hand, people will see us and they will come to see us and say, yeah, we understand what you're doing. And there isn't a time when we don't talk to people about our faith, and thank gosh for the enduring principles that the church has, because this lines up beautifully with sacredness of creation, the worth of all creation, grace, generosity. And so we're excited about aligning with the church's mission in an area that is going to cause us to wake some people up and to agitate a bit and to maybe make some people feel uncomfortable. And in the process, they're going to be healthy. So, hey, it's a win-win-win-win-win because everything's connected.